The Assassination. Prelude to the Assassination. The year 1865 marked the end of the American Civil War. The Confederacy was in its final days, and President Abraham Lincoln was preparing for the reunification of the North and South. At the time, Lincoln had been re-elected in 1864 and was moving forward with plans for a post-war nation, including his famous policies of healing and reconstruction. On April 14, 1865, Lincoln and his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, decided to attend a performance of Our American Cousin, a comedy by Tom Taylor. The theater was located just a short distance from the White House, and it was a night out for the President and First Lady after years of overseeing the war effort. They were accompanied by two guests, Major Henry Rathbone, an Army officer, and his fiancée, Clara Harris. The Lincolns were seated in the state box above the main floor of the theater. The night promised to be a peaceful one for the Lincolns, but little did they know that a plot was unfolding right under their noses. The plot and Booth's motive. John Wilkes Booth, a well-known actor and vocal Confederate sympathizer, had been planning the assassination of Abraham Lincoln for some time. Booth, who had opposed the Union's victory and Lincoln's stance on abolition, initially intended to kidnap the president and hold him hostage, forcing the Confederacy's release. However, with the war winding down and General Robert E. Lee's surrender in April, Booth's plans for a kidnapping quickly became unrealistic. Instead, Booth and his conspirators switched to a more drastic plan: the assassination of Lincoln, as well as the killings of Vice President Andrew Johnson and Secretary of State William H. Seward. The intention behind this was to throw the federal government into disarray and resurrect the Confederate cause. While Booth succeeded in killing Lincoln, the attacks on Johnson and Seward failed. Booth carefully planned the night, knowing that Our American Cousin was a comedy with moments of laughter, which would mask the sound of a gunshot. He also knew that President Lincoln was an approachable figure and would not be guarded heavily during the performance. The role of John Parker. John Parker, a policeman assigned to protect President Lincoln during his time at Ford's Theater, was a relatively low-ranking officer. He had little experience in the intense security required for such a high-profile event as protecting the President of the United States. Though Parker had been tasked with guarding the President, he was not vigilant. At some point during the performance, Parker decided to leave his post. Some reports suggest that Parker left to visit a nearby tavern, while others claim he went to a local restaurant or to chat with friends. It's worth noting that Ford's Theater was a crowded and festive venue, and the atmosphere may have encouraged distractions. However, leaving his post, especially on such an important occasion, was a grave mistake. Without Parker's presence, the door to the president's box was unguarded, and Booth was able to enter unchallenged. After entering the box, Booth approached Lincoln from behind, drew a small Derringer pistol, and shot the president in the back of the head at point-blank range. The shock and confusion in the theater were immediate. The assassination and aftermath. Booth's shot was fatal. Lincoln was slumped in his seat, and Major Rathbone attempted to subdue Booth, but the assassin fought him off and then leaped from the box to the stage below. As Booth landed, he fractured his leg but still managed to escape through the back door of the theater. He mounted a horse waiting outside and fled Washington, D.C., aided by conspirators. In the meantime, the theater descended into chaos. At first, many in the audience mistook the events for part of the play, especially as laughter from the audience mingled with the noise of Booth's entrance. However, when it became clear that the president had been shot, pandemonium broke out. Rathbone, seriously injured by Booth, cried out for help, and people rushed to aid the president. The wounded Lincoln was carried from the theater by onlookers, including soldiers and doctors, to the nearby Peterson House. The president was placed in a small bedroom on the second floor of the house, and doctors quickly arrived. They worked tirelessly through the night in an attempt to save Lincoln's life, but the damage was too severe. President Lincoln passed away at 7:22 a.m. on April 15, 1865, surrounded by his wife and friends. Booth's escape and the pursuit. After the assassination, Booth fled to southern Maryland and then to Virginia. He was on the run for 12 days, evading capture. Along the way, he was aided by Confederate sympathizers, but ultimately his trail led to the Garrett Farm in Virginia. On April 26, 1865, federal troops surrounded the farm, and Booth was trapped in a tobacco barn. He refused to surrender, and the soldiers set the barn on fire to force him out. Booth attempted to escape through a back door, but was shot by Sergeant Boston Corbett. Booth died shortly after from the gunshot wound. The fate of John Parker. In the aftermath of the assassination, John Parker was severely criticized for leaving his post. While it was clear that Booth had carefully planned his assassination, many saw Parker's absence as a preventable failure in the protection of the president. In addition, the fact that Booth was able to enter the box unchallenged added to the sense that more could have been done to prevent the tragedy. Though Parker was not directly responsible for Lincoln's death, his failure to perform his duties contributed to the success of Booth's plot. Parker was removed from his role guarding the president and was reportedly reassigned to a less prominent position within the police force. However, his actions, or lack thereof, would remain a point of historical reflection. Impact of Lincoln's death. The assassination of Abraham Lincoln shocked the nation and the world. Lincoln was revered as one of the greatest U.S. presidents, and his death at the hands of an assassin during a time of national healing left the country devastated. His death marked the first assassination of a sitting U.S. president and set a precedent for presidential protection that would evolve significantly over the following decades. In the days and weeks following the assassination, people across the country mourned Lincoln's death. His funeral procession became a symbol of the nation's grief, as his body was carried from Washington, D.C. to Springfield, Illinois, where he was buried. Additionally, the assassination had major political consequences. Vice President Andrew Johnson, who had been a target of Booth's conspiracy but was unharmed, assumed the presidency. Johnson's approach to Reconstruction was sharply different from Lincoln's, and the post-war period became one of political tension and division, setting the stage for years of struggle over how to reintegrate the Southern states into the Union. The assassination also led to major changes in how the president and other key officials were guarded. The Secret Service, which was originally established in 1865 to combat counterfeit money, was assigned to the protection of the president in 1901 following the assassination of President William McKinley. Legacy of the assassination. John Wilkes Booth's assassination of Lincoln remains one of the most significant events in U.S. history. It was not only a personal tragedy, but also a turning point in American politics and security. For John Parker, his lapse in duty left an indelible mark on history, serving as a reminder of the critical importance of vigilance in protecting public figures. The events of April 14, 1865 have since been studied and remembered as part of the broader story of the Civil War, the fight for freedom, and the long struggle for national healing in the aftermath of one of the most turbulent periods in U.S. history.
Polyspeaks for You incorporates voice control features that allow users to perform essential actions like opening, saving, and creating new documents, as well as interacting with font and document editing dialogues. This is particularly helpful for individuals with disabilities, enabling hands-free operation and more accessible content management. Below are some of the voice control functionalities designed for ease of use. 1. Voice-commanded document handling. Open document. Users can say commands like open document, followed by the file name or location, and Poly will open the document for them. Save document. Commands like save document as or save allow the user to save their work without needing to manually click on buttons. Poly can also handle saving with specific file names or locations as dictated. A new document. A simple voice command such as create new document or start new file will initiate a fresh document in the app. A closed document. Commands like close document or exit can be used to close the current document. 2. Font dialog voice controls. Font style. Users can control font settings by saying change font to Arial or set font at Times New Roman. This would change the selected text's font style. A font size. Commands like increase font size or decrease font size adjust the text size according to user preferences. A font color. Users can use commands such as set font color to red or change font to blue to personalize the text color. 3. Voice-commanded document editing. A text formatting. Commands like bold text, italicized text, underline text, or strikeout text allow users to edit their document easily. For example, saying bold this text will apply bold formatting to the selected text. Alignment. Users can command alignment changes by saying align left, align center, or align right. A text insertion. A user can say insert text, and the software will insert the given text at the current cursor position. A text navigation. Commands such as go to the top, scroll down, or move to the next paragraph enable users to navigate the document without the need for a mouse or keyboard. 4. Voice-activated help and assistance. Help commands. Users can ask questions like, "What can I do?" or "Help me with saving" to receive guidance on specific tasks. Poly can offer step-by-step instructions based on voice queries. A undo/redo. Voice commands such as undo or redo let users correct mistakes or revert to previous actions in their document. 5. Advanced features for accessibility. Speech recognition training. For improved accuracy, Poly can guide users through the Windows speech recognition training process, adapting to their voice patterns and improving dictation accuracy. A text-to-speech for editing. Users can have text read aloud to them while editing, making it easier to spot errors and refine their documents. These voice-controlled features make Poly Speaks for You an accessible tool for individuals with disabilities, particularly those with visual impairments, mobility issues, or other conditions that limit their ability to use traditional input devices. The hands-free operation helps users maintain independence and improve their document management and editing experience. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to stay updated with more content. The creator of Poly Speaks for You has always been driven by a passion for giving a voice to those who need it most. Whether it's through text-to-speech technology or voice recognition, the goal has always been to create tools that help individuals, especially those with disabilities or learning challenges, communicate and interact with the world in a way that is meaningful and empowering. The stories shared, such as those about the sailors aboard the HMS Victory, are not just about reliving history, they are about the power of voice. Through Poly Speaks for You, the creator saw an opportunity to use storytelling as a medium to convey courage, strength, and resilience, much like the sailors of the past. These stories are intended to inspire and engage users, reminding them of the importance of their voices, both literally and metaphorically. The idea behind these stories is to showcase how technology, particularly speech technology, can be a tool for preserving history, while also empowering users with the capability to share their own narratives. By blending history with technology, the creator of Poly Speaks for You aims to demonstrate how powerful a voice can be in shaping and sharing our world, past and present. In a sense, these stories represent more than just entertainment. They are a way for the creator to give a voice to history, to connect with users in a deeply human way, and to remind them that their voices matter, whether they are telling their own stories or those of others. The creator's work in developing Poly Speaks for You is never just about making a functional tool. It was about making sure that every voice had the power to be heard. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to stay updated with more content. This content has been adapted from the powerful features of Poly Speaks for You, South Africa's leading accessibility software. Learn more at www.polyspeaksforyou.co.za. We invite you to support this meaningful dyslexic initiative, crafted and developed by an individual who personally understands the challenges of dyslexia.